IMHO Talk Show. Sir Charles.
Max.
Raisin.
Wow.
And we are still here.
Shea Butter can't get that thing right to save his soul.
Hey, man.
It's coming.
Like we are virtual, so I will maybe he got a little, delayed internet. Maybe he got some latency, Let's give him benefit.
That man got the best internet. It's that Shea Butter that got him kind of
His finger keeps slipping.
Yeah. He should show you right. He Billy D. Williams down there in Call
So thank you all. We're at the bottom of the show. Bottom of the hour for this edition, of our IMHO Seville Tomorrow virtual town hall COVID-19 special updates, and we've been joined by some of the best of the best. We like I said, this is our second one, and then every time, hopefully, we giving you that good edutainment, right? So today we've been joined by Career Center Juan Diego Wade, our police chief, our fire chief, and also if you've been listening, we are joined now by Mr. Gene Cash of Counseling Alliance of Virginia. And Gene, you've been here before, man. Thank you for all the great work you do. It's crucial in particular how you focus on that mental health for our black brothers, because that's that's one of the last taboos, right, that we have of black men being vulnerable, right, like willing to open up to better help themselves, right, sharing with one another. So thank you. But what I wanted to do, if it's cool with everybody, is sort of keep going in the same vein of this is Resurrection Day.
Yeah.
For those who believe, this is whether you believe it or not, it's still what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is Easter Sunday, and so got to make sure we make mention of that as much as possible. That is very important, man. And Gene, as we were saying, us as a people, right? Our mental health, our spirituality, right? Sometimes can interfere, I guess, and for lack of better words, with our mental health, because we sometimes lean on that instead of getting ourselves some of the carnal, the physical help that we really do need, right? They both should be able to coexist. So I'm curious, what are some of the conversations that you're having right now that could help us out in this time, when it comes to balancing those things?
I think, thank you for having me on, Charles, Razor, Max, and I don't know my new man.
Ron.
Shea Butter.
Shea
Butter accent.
You just call me the man, James.
The man.
Gene, the man wearing Shea Butter.
Okay, all right, the man.
It's the man wearing Shea Butter. That's what
the man
is.
Shea Butter? I don't know.
Shea Butter just stick. You ain't gonna get that one off.
I think some of the things that continue to run to as people are trying to take care of their mental health is definitely that balance of their spirituality, and also, I gotta be honest with you, dealing with COVID-19 and dealing with the structural racism and being able to trust our government as we walk through this. Because a lot of times some people doubt what is being told and they question it. I know, and sometimes in a lot of communities, and we have the conspiracy theories that come up that it sometimes get in our way of being able to trust what is being said to us. Those are conversations that I'm having with people as they come into the room, and people of color tend to stick out as far as being able to trust what is being said to us. However, though, when we start to look at the pandemic, we cannot put ourselves at risk and follow those fears and anxieties that we've always had in our community around what is being said and what is being put out towards us from our government. The thing that sticks out to me the most as we help people is being informed as much as possible, getting the facts, knowing what are the clear examples of how we're going to protect yourself, and then implementing those things as far as washing your hands, social distancing. And your faith can be there, but as far as taking steps to protect yourself, I believe, like Razor said, you might putting your life at risk and at danger. So I think helping our community process those thoughts and validate their fears and their concerns around how they take in their spirituality and how that's going to protect them more than implementing different measures. I think validation has been the most helpful thing to people. And I understand you. I get what you mean. And these are the things that we have found helpful to help protect us all and protect yourselves. So I think those are the things. Being informed from somebody that you trust and being validated has been helpful to people.
Nice. Thank you for that. You had something? Oh, I thought I heard Max speak up. So I know with one thing that I wanted to touch on is when we talk about the freedoms as well. That's something else that can be very taxing, right? Especially as Americans. I was having a conversation with the friend from Sierra Leone, and one of the things that stand out about Americans is, in general, right, is that we love to tout our freedoms. That's one of the things that supposedly stands out about being an American. So that can interfere as well, right? And so I'm curious about how to deal with that when you take life, and this crosses a lot of different like subject matter, right? It's the same when you're used to a life, and then that life changes, right? You have some sort of traumatic event that happens, whatever it may be. Then you got to readjust. So your mental stamina and your mental wherewithal gets very, very taxed if you believe something your whole life and then all of a sudden you get disappointed or it changes. So that freedom is something that we battle with right now. So how can we better deal with that? To be in the house, not being able to come and go as we please. What are some coping mechanisms?
We all know basically. One of the things I thought about social media has been a definite plus to people. FaceTime, Skype. Zoom, texting, being able to connect with people virtually, being able to see somebody on the screen has been very valuable. A lot of our clients that we see now, the show rate for people doing telehealth has been very amazing to me. I did not think that people would respond, but I have clients who are dealing with lots of anxiety and they're wanting to be seen twice a week. And this goes from little kids to adults. And something came to my head, Charles, when you said that around freedoms. And one of the things, I'll go back to the coping thing. So social media, eating well, getting rest, getting sleep, mindfulness, meditating, prayer, really taking care of your mental health that way. Getting out, exercising, as long as you follow the social distancing, 20-minute walk, hour walk by the river, by wherever you got, but definitely try to get out of do social distancing, but get some exercise, be it videotapes, kickboxing, cooking. People are doing a lot of cooking as well. And so those are some things that stick out to me. But the thing that I've been paying attention to or watching too is, you talk about freedoms and those being taken away. And I just want to just offer that when it comes to post-traumatic slave syndrome, that people of color tend to have a hard time dealing with past traumas that tend to come up when it talks about restricting us. So I just want to keep that in light, that that is a real thing. And as a people of color tend to, we've dealt with stress, we've dealt with psychological toxic energy from dealing with being oppressed and marginalized all our life. And when the pandemic comes, I think we're challenged even more in some ways. Because our liberties have always been challenged.
That's right. Yeah. So in many ways, we're more used to it than others, right?
Gene, do you think it? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Max. Go ahead. I was going to say something too. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say whether or not you thought, Gene, it was fair to say that now there's just kind of another added layer of struggle, or whatever you want to title this, what this pandemic is doing, struggle, oppression, whatever. Do you, because we are people who have been conditioned to survive through difficult times, do you think I don't even want to say if it's for the most part, but do you think for a lot of people it's just life as usual?
Max, I'm telling you, I think you hit it. Yes. I think when it first hit COVID-19, I think the step we took at Counseling Alliance of Virginia is mutual engagement. So we were going to talk to our clients, how is this affecting you mentally, physically, financially, and what what would be best to help serve you? And the responses we got were like, people were like, we've been through this. We've been through challenging times before, and let's keep it moving. Let's talk. I think a lot of our sessions start off that way. I will check in, how you doing with COVID? How you doing with quarantine? And then we're in life issues. I mean, we're talking about parenting. We're talking about PTSD. We're talking about trauma. We're still doing the work because COVID is something similar to what we've been dealing with in some ways, as far as being challenged. And a lot of our clients are saying they want help. They don't want their mental health to worsen during this. And sometimes the TV can be a major stressor if you're watching it all day, and it will breed fear, anxiety, hopelessness. And so a lot of times people, they just want to focus on their life.
Right.
That's fact.
I think I agree. I do see that in some of my clients, majority of my clients, to be honest. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Gotcha.
Hey, Charles.
Yeah, so Aaron, like I know his comments before the last answer was touching right on where you want to go with it. So how about we take a quick break and we come right back to you, Aaron? That's cool.
You got it.
Yeah, because and Gene, I'm gonna go ahead and let you prep yourself. Brother Aaron is about to give it to you because when you talked about post-traumatic stress syndrome, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Yeah. That's a real thing. Brother Aaron is gonna talk about Dr. Francis
Scott
Welch and who else?
Yes, sir. He gonna bring it.
He about to bring the black self-respect.
Yes,
to the show.
indeed.
So y'all get ready.
You keep it to the forefront, and this is like I know both of y'all personally. So y'all gonna take it from here. All right.
All right, so y'all stay tuned. 434-422-9101. IMHO Talk Show with clinician Gene Cash of Counseling Alliance of Virginia for this IMHO Seville Tomorrow virtual town hall special COVID-19 update.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
Hey! Had to give it to him.
Yes, sir. Now that's how you bring Aaron and Gene in.
Because the brothers in the building. We were playing the Ghost of Soulja Slim off the J Electronica and Jay-Z.
Oh, okay. Yeah, shout out to Hov, man. Shout out to Hov.
Yeah.
So Aaron, how are you and your black self-respect gonna follow that?
I'm just. I know we want to end the show on a good note, but the main thing I just want to, and we were actually just talking about it off air, which was sometimes it could be inadvertent or it can be accidental, even when the media, and I don't even think it's accidental with the media, when they're talking about these health disparities. I know sometimes as a black person, if you don't have a certain level of black self-respect, you will start to think about it like you woke up as a baby and you created all these problems for yourself. You are the reason why you have hypertension. You are the reason why you have all these things, as if you want to have communities with no hospitals, as if you want all these things. And I'm in therapy, and Gene can attest to this. My therapist always says that there are experiences that mold how people behave. That's what happens.
Yes.
And we have been put into a situation, rightly or wrongly, it's our job to fix it, but we are in a place right now in the United States, and I just believe globally, where we live in a system of racism. And this is what comes when you have all these things that happen to us. Right. That's what I'm trying to say. The federal government, whether we like it or not, has put a tremendous amount of time and energy into making these communities look the way that they look. And I think that we have to have a healthy level of skepticism. However, I think that the best thing we could do for black self-respect, we need the smart people to talk. That's why we got Gene on here to tell us about our community mental health. That's why we've got Max. That's why we got Razor. We need to start talking about solutions. I don't expect much help, but what I do expect are the people that look like me, that genuinely care, and other communities as well. Tell us the correct information. What vitamins should we be taking? Is right now a really good time to be talking about having a fish fry every other? I'm being serious, because the one thing I have not seen enough of, I see a lot of people working out. I haven't seen enough communication about diets. I haven't seen enough communication about eating a little bit healthier, because these are some of the things that we can control on our own end. So I just want to thank Gene and thank everybody on the call and everybody that's listening. We didn't create these problems, but it is our job to solve it if we get help or not. Period.
Amen. Amen,
Agreed.
brother.
Definitely agree.
Agreed.
Agreed, 1,000%. And I believe that's some of the belief around starting to understand racism is essential. And like I've always talked about, there's a side for the privileged, and there's a side for the subjugated. The people have been marginalized, and people starting to understand the impact of white supremacy and how, when we're subjugated, we tend to follow things that are not ours. We tend to hold our anger, our rage, and that just increases the toxic energy, the toxic. I believe it kills us.
Yeah.
It kills us. Racism kills us, and how we have to endure it every day. And that toxicity sits in us. And like my brother said, it was designed this way. And in a sense, yes, those disparities are going to be high in our communities because it was designed that way. And the more and more that we speak up and become aware that it's designed that way, and also to have a voice. One thing is, our voices have been squelched, they have been pushed aside, but the more and more we can start talking about these disparities and get some healing, and I don't know, it's just one thing I do want to say is that that allyship is a real thing, and that white people need to start taking responsibility for their ancestry and start impacting change in all of our communities. Okay. The policies, the procedures, we can speak up, but if white allyship does not speak up, things will not change. And when I hear people talk about the disparity, they just don't. When I hear people, leadership, talk about the disparity, they just don't go to that next level.
That's right.
They don't go to the part where it's white supremacy and whiteness and white superiority. Yeah, and that is the problem in this country. So I just want to share. I'm with my brother 100%. We did not do this to ourselves.
That's right. Thank you for that. Because we were having this conversation earlier, and Max, I'll kick it over to you. To sort of bring us to a wrap, because we press against the end. But Virginia, I don't know if you heard us at the top hour, but it was. Wow, right now this thing is affecting everybody, right? But we have to be mindful, because you got to know your history, or you'll be doomed to repeat it. And we know from experience, and anybody can say that we're trying to make this about race or whatever. We wish we didn't have to, right? But we know for a fact that once a particular minority group is the only one affected, or if a socioeconomic group can't afford the cure, then let's see how many people start forgetting about it, right? We just got to be mindful of our history.
You know what, Charles? I just want to add one. I was working with somebody, and when they told me they had to pay $250 for a COVID test, they were subjected to somebody in contact with somebody with COVID who was positive. And then they had to, if they didn't have insurance, the cost for the test was $250. I was floored. I did not know that was a real thing, that people are having to pay to get a COVID-19 test.
Yep, absolutely.
And what is that about?
That's phase one.
What is that about?
All right, Mr. Max, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Take us home.
Thank you, Gene. Make sure you give your contact information real quick. Got to do that. Counseling Alliance of Virginia.
Counseling Alliance of Virginia. We're based in Charlottesville and Richmond. Our phone number in Charlottesville is 434-220-0333. We're located on Greenbrier Drive. And in the Richmond office, it's 804-346-5165. We're located on 8527 Mayland Drive. You can always reach us on our website at www.cavahelps.com. That's CAVAHELPS.com.
Yep. And of course, we just want to thank all of our listeners and all of our supporters for tuning into another show of In My Humble Opinion. You know, that last little conversation that really made my heart heavy, because I'm the type of person, and I'm sure you gather this from the show, that I like to think the best, that I want the best, and I have this kind of we are the world mentality, but the reality is what it is, and the circumstances are what they are. But we all have a choice, people. And it requires making that choice. It requires people stepping up. It requires people calling out. It requires a change, really. Like when they sung that song all those years ago, a change is going to come. Like that comes from a place, right? And we are still in times that still need changing. And so, for all that can, should, and that's not on one side or the other, right? For all that can, should. So. Let's see where you stand.
Can I add something real quick? Razor?
Yeah.
This is Easter Sunday. Christ said, be changed by what? The renewing of your mind. Mm-hmm. This is an opportunity for America or globally for people to have a true renewing.
Amen.
Because let's be real. Let's be real.
All right, Aaron,
we talk about Christ, but this Christ that people that we need to see, we don't see it. Mm-hmm. So on this Easter Sunday, that's a challenge because the person that they talk about in the Bible is the one that was in the streets healing the sick, the ones that needed it the most.
Amen.
Say so.
That's right.
So that's something that we all need to take because the guy that sometimes people talk about, we might see him in action, but he can't be in action for some communities and not for others.
That's
absolutely.
And that's just a reality.
Amen.
Yeah. In the global Christian community, whatever you look like, that's something that you really need to take to heart and really get into your mind and pray about and just ask yourself, is this the planet that it's supposed to look like?
Mm-hmm. And that's precisely
food for thought.
If you remember my comments, we're probably over time early in the show.
Y'all done this before?
Max, close us out. out.
No, but so if I have a second, if you remember when we started the show, I talked about like precisely what Aaron just now said. And if we go through this and come out the exact same people on the other end, let me tell you something. There is a higher being in charge. You want to go through it again? Right?
Yeah.
Like it's time for us to wake up.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Amen, sister. All right, so
this has been an extended version of IMHO.
Thank y'all.
We thank each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Happy Easter to one another.
Stay tuned. Hit our YouTube channel for the show in its entirety. Y'all, we'll see y'all next time. Thank you for joining another IMHO Seville Tomorrow virtual COVID-19 special.